and it was very, very down.
Yeah, I read it as I was doing the notes, and then I've read it again this morning, and it's like a borrow, but
It's a borrow.
it's not like interesting really. I've
Felt like
really
a
had
Kitty
to.
Pride book more
It
than an
really
X-Men
did.
book. Yeah, it's like a
And
Kitty Pride
it like
story.
the way they just like set everything up is just super jarring. It doesn't really. I don't know. We'll get into it here anyway. How we do by clap, and we'll get started. Uh,
Smoking vape.
all right, how we doing, Weird Science? This is Brandon and Trevitt coming at you guys with this week's Marvel Minute. As suggested by you, we're going to be covering X-Men Prime #1. So how we doing this week, Trevitt?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
All right. Well, we got a hell of a team to get through here. We got a little blurb. We'll talk about what books this sets up, and then we'll spit the bit about what happened within the pages of X-Men Prime #1 here, which is written by Mark Guggenheim, Greg Pak, and Cullen Bunn. We got art by Ken Lashley, Irvin Robertson, Leonard Kirk, and Guillermo Ortega. And then color artists of Mary Howell, Frank Diamarta, and Michael Garland. So our blurb here is, finally the X-Men are returning to Earth, learning a valuable lesson while they were away. You should always try to talk things out first, especially before trying to destroy a giant inhuman-related cloud in life. So let's see if life for the X-Men has improved any at all in the Marvel line rebirth for the crew in X-Men Prime #1. So basically, this bad boy, this rebirth type issue for Marvel sets up X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, the Weapon X series, and then later books coming down the line of Generation X, Jean Grey, Cable, and Iceman. Iceman. Yeah.
Iceman.
But this book doesn't really set up that second batch of books too much at all. If you ask me, it really just sets up those first 3, Blue, Gold, and Weapon X.
Not at all, actually, with the exception of it was like a nod to Generation X when she runs into Jubilee. Like, that's it, because Jubilee is going to be the head, like the main figure in Generation X. But that's all, like a nod.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, Jubilee. It was like literally one page.
I can't believe Jubilee's mom. End scene.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get to that part because I have a few questions about Jubilee and her child. But anyway, as we get into this story here, we open the book and we immediately see Kitty Pryde in a ballet uniform, and her giving probably some inner monologue to us, basically letting us know her mindset, which is that she's finished with Star-Lord. They're not dating anymore. She's done with the team up with the Guardians, and she's back on Earth, basically looking for a purpose, kind of. We turn that first page, and we get probably my favorite page of the issue, which is Storm basically coming through the window and reintroducing herself to Kitty.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It looked great too.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's my favorite looking page of the issue by far. Anyway, those 2 old friends, they end up going to, a bar / cafe, sitting down to a drink and kind of catching up with one another. And Storm kind of fills her in on everything that's happened, basically through IVX, the previous series that led into this. And, gives her the rundown of the cloud situation and basically drops a bombshell, lets Kitty know she's going to probably be leaving. Well, not probably. She wants to leave the X-Men because she feels like she's let them down.
And that's funny, right? Because back to like, she's explaining to Kitty what went on during IVX, but Kitty was hanging around with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they've been stranded since Civil War, so she must know what. Like, she didn't get involved. Like, isn't that kind of odd?
Yeah, they even don't even really mention that the Guardians were fucking stranded here at all. They essentially say I was in space and kind of like ignored the problem.
Yeah.
They don't even bring that up. And then that's like the first of a few just like issues with this book of like kind of just ignoring recent events and resetting the stage for where they really want everybody to be. So I guess you could give or take that for what it is.
Yeah,
but
they choose the parts that they want to keep. Like,
yeah,
and
it's a
little
little
things
weird.
they just don't even mention.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Anyway, we end that conversation kind of on a mini cliffhanger, which we'll pick up later, but because Storm mentions again that she wants to leave the X-Men, and Kitty is kind of gives her the shocked face, and then we're jumping into events with Lady Deathstrike here, and some setup for the upcoming Weapon X book, which she'll be featured in. So she's coming over on a ship, basically coming back to America, smuggling, hiding herself amongst a group of people being smuggled over because she can't get in through legal means, obviously.
Because she's all metal.
And these people are a bunch of scumbags, not the people being smuggled over, but the people doing the smuggling. They like smack kind of a little teenage looking ish girl.
Yeah, I got the feeling that they were going in for some rape right there. Like, this guy comes in and grabs this little girl, and he's like, some of you haven't paid up yet, which I'm figuring like he's gonna make them pay by
Yeah, I think they haven't paid their cost or their due for being smuggled, so he's going to take it through other means, and that pisses Lady Deathstrike off, and she lashes out, killing a bunch of scumbags.
It's a funny moment for this to happen too. Like, they go from Madripoor to New York City, and they're almost to New York City. It was probably like a week or 2 weeks long trip in boat, and he just now, like, someone's got raped before this. Like, you just know
that's not funny, but yeah, this is the point she's fed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, rape number 18 is enough. I'm gonna kill everybody now.
This guy's dead now. I watched him rape too many women.
Yeah. And anyway, the last time I remember seeing Lady Deathstrike, it was in an Old Man Logan story. So I don't know if she's like coming to America straight from that story. Have I missed any other story she's been featured in?
No,
Have you
I've
seen
read
her in anything else.
I haven't seen her in anything else, and Old Man Logan's probably the only title that I've not caught up on. So
okay, yeah, well, that's the last time I've seen her. So I guess she's coming back from. See, I don't remember if that Old Man Logan story was in the present or not, because that story keeps going all over the place, and I'm a little confused right now.
All right, so it jumps through like time and stuff.
Yeah, well, lately it has been.
But where were they last? Because I have no clue where she came from at all.
Logan was in Japan, and he arrived to Japan and saw basically like something from his time that he was trying to stop from happening, and Lady Deathstrike was over there too, ended up helping him out. Basically, my point of mentioning all that is she's essentially become like an anti-hero as of late. She's not really a straight out villain anymore. She's kind of taken Emma's spot on the X-Men team, as far as like being associated with them, since Emma's kind of gone full villain again.
Yeah.
Lady Deathstrike has kind of replaced, even though it wasn't vacant very long. She's kind of been acting lately as kind of more anti-hero than straight up villain.
That's cool though. She's a cool character,
Yeah, I don't hate her. She's one of the reasons. As we move on and turn the page here, we're jumping all over the place. I'm not really following the notes. But after she kills all the scumbags on the boat, she jumps off. She gets ashore to America, and there's like some Hillary Clinton looking lady in a white pantsuit standing there waiting for Lady Deathstrike. They exchange a few words, and Lady Deathstrike basically looks like she flat out kills her. She stabs her through the chest, and then
she's pretty dope too. She just goes right through the butter.
See, I don't know who this chick is. I think it's personally Mystique disguised
no, I don't
as somebody.
Either, but I saw Mystique. Where the hell did? No, never mind. I was reading a different book from a different time period, and I'm melding that memory into current stories. Is crazy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that this unnamed lady, it could be somebody I'm not familiar with in a book I haven't read, but I haven't seen her lately.
she healed quick, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
well, I think Mystique has a healing factor. Am I not? Am I wrong?
I don't know. Maybe she does. That would make sense. Just like the whole nature of her powers. I don't think she ages at all, actually. So she would have to have some kind of regenerative capability
Yeah.
in order to like.
I don't. I'm not really. I don't like Mystique a lot, so I don't really pay much attention to her. When she shows up, she's. I don't know. Whatever. Let's. We're so scattered here today. This is so random. My brain's just like going everywhere, and I think that's mostly because that's the way this issue is set up. It just jumps
Oh yeah,
around and.
it jumps from
Anyway,
story
Lady
to story.
Deathstrike celebrating the death of this random lady we think is Mystique that looks like Hillary Clinton in a white pantsuit.
She does
Uh,
celebrate it too.
ends up getting hit with a missile that comes out of nowhere. And as this lady gets up off the ground, you know, she obviously is up, has some sort of mutant power or healing factor. And she basically, they're kidnapping Lady Deathstrike, who's unconscious from this missile strike, and taking her off somewhere, essentially setting up the Weapon X book.
I think this might be the best part of this issue because it's really interesting. It makes me want to know what's going on and excited for more. And the art is really clean and sharp. You know, like the lines are great.
Yeah, this is the Greg Pak portion of things, I think, if you ask me.
I agree.
It does probably the best job of giving you a direction of kind of where that book is headed. And I don't know, the characters they kind of spotlight at the end, you know, even though goddamn Old Man Logan's in every fucking X-Men book coming out. You know, it's kind of like the most random and coolest, the coolest looking team full of wild cards. You know, you don't know what's going to really happen.
No, it's an awesome
you know,
team.
It doesn't look like it'll be a paint by numbers X-Men book. And you know, personally, it's after reading this and finishing this story, that's the book out of the three coming out right away, Blue, Gold, and Weapon X, that I'm most interested in going forward.
Yeah, same for the most part. I'm a little interested in friggin' Jean Grey and Jean Grey and Cable. I'm a little interested in Cable too.
Yeah, those are the solos. You know, back into this story, we end the Lady Deathstrike fiasco, which was actually pretty interesting. I don't want to make it sound like it was a bad thing.
That was cool, and I like these character designs at the end of like the whole entire Weapon X team. That was dope.
You know, when we move on from there, though, we join back up with Storm and Kitty, who arrive in X Haven, which is the X mansion in Limbo. And basically this section of the book is Kitty becoming reacquainted with her old teammates and her old exes like Colossus. And then this is where it slows back down and gets a little boring, you know?
Yeah, it does. It's kind of a bummer coming out of that cool Weapon X stuff.
I know, and then this is the other problem here I have with this section is, you know, not necessarily her going through getting reacquainted with everybody, but nobody's supposed to be here right now. Like at the end of Extraordinary X-Men 20, they zapped everybody out of X-Haven, and the only people left were like the original group of X-Men that the Extraordinary books followed.
Yeah.
You know, they got like random kids running around the mansion and shit still. This book should be taking place after all the other X-Men series have ended, and it's not following like any of those plot threads kind of and how those books ended. You know what I'm saying? Did I say that right?
I never read All New X-Men, so I can't speak for that book, but Extraordinary X-Men, you know, that ended just like with Storm at the mansion. It was like a basic, like, it was kind of flat.
It ended with the baseball game, but my point of
the baseball
that
game.
little rant was
nice little
that entire issue revolved around them getting all the kids that they had out of fucking X-Haven. That everybody was teleported out of there.
Did they clear out? I thought everybody came back.
No, they cleared everybody out of there. And there's everybody wandering around here, even including kids and shit at this point in time.
I thought I remember them coming, like they had them away and then they came back.
That's why they played the baseball game at the end. They were the only ones left there.
Oh, that's right, like old time.
Yeah, like just celebrating being together again.
I don't know. I never was too like crazy over that book. Like when I read it, it's never anything that I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like Lemire just seemed kind of like middle of the road on that. Just
I know, but I'm just saying, like this X-Men Prime book doesn't like the continuity in it just doesn't pick up from where we've left off in the other books. It
no, you
basically
get
is establishing its own points it wants to.
this is well after the events.
Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. It's a weird. This book's weird.
So basically,
Anyway,
after Extraordinary X-Men, they get all their students back, and
to Earth,
everybody's
like they're
settled
not in
in.
limbo. There should be nobody in limbo right now, and everybody's in limbo throughout this
And
entire
yeah,
book.
and they all settle in like they're gonna be there for a while now, and then Storm decides, well, I'm gonna leave. Let me go like get Kitty out of the blue, and see if she wants to take my job here, even though no one here has seen her in a long time. So like,
This book just makes no sense. From what and everything I've read, all the goddamn X-Men books. I've read Death of X. I've read IVX. I've read Extraordinary X-Men. You know, I haven't paid attention to the young kids, but I heard that book ended on a shit show. But
yeah, I
what I'm
enjoyed
saying
that
is
one.
this book is supposed to be wrapping up all those threads that they just finished in those books that wrapped up, and then showing you what it leads to. And I don't think it does a good job of either of those two things it's trying to bridge. Because as we go through, you know, Kitty's walking through the mansion, running into different people that
That's when she
shouldn't be
runs
in the
into
goddamn
Jubilee.
mansion. Yeah, they're
Yeah, she runs into
like, why
Jubilee.
did
There are
they
little
leave
kids playing
everybody?
basketball.
You know, it's just dumb.
Little kids playing basketball outside. Mutants I've never seen before in any of the X-Men books. Like any of the issues I've read, you know, they're just like random kids, like nobody of significance.
Yeah, it's then she goes to the danger room, which is like a big, large portion of the ending of this book, and it's another stupid issue I have problems with because these are well, we don't know right away, but the kids are basically fighting in the danger room, all the young X-Men, the original 5 or whatever you want to call them, and Kitty ends up running into the control room, seeing that they don't have a spotter. So she's all, you know, pissed off that they're basically being reckless.
And they're
And
all
that's
going on about what they're going to be doing next, like who's going to be leading and nonsense like that. Like all the setup. This is all the setup for X-Men Blue, even though like, oof,
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
that
but
great.
well, here's the problem: is that we find out these are all holograms. So they've been
Yeah,
having an
recorded.
ongoing, running conversation with dialogue that they don't know how it's going or where it ends. And this has all been a computer program. Like
Yeah,
that's
I
what
think
we
what
find out. That's
I think what they
stupid as
did
shit.
was they did a session, like a long session in the danger room, and then put it on repeat. So anybody who walked in at any time was like, "Oh, who's in here?" And they would see them doing what they were doing. Maybe they wouldn't stay the whole time and walk out, like hoping
Yeah.
that nobody would try to like ask them a question or interact.
And they also left the entire conversation for them to listen to over and over again to provide them hints of where they're going. It's
Yeah,
just a very stupid way to set up. The all new X-Men are not in the building. They have
and
snuck away, and this is a computer program basically monologuing to anybody who walks in the room telling them that, and it just keeps looping.
yeah, Jean's taken over. They want to find their own place in the world. Basically, they don't feel like they belong at the school. And somehow, some way, between this and the first issue of X-Men Blue, Magneto is going to be leading this team. So
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to happen because like what we saw Magneto leave off on, and in between that and X-Men Blue, and he wasn't even mentioned in Prime. It's just I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
like they didn't do a good job of setting up that premise. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like a
no.
way to get you interested in that book would be to set up that Magneto is either like going to deal with these kids or recruit these kids. Like that premise that what they showed you in this book doesn't you know, make it any different from what they were doing in the previous all new X-Men book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It just makes it look like the kids are going off on their goddamn own again. That's what they've been doing for the last fucking year anyway.
The only difference is there'll be no Kitty Pryde like there was in the original all new X-Men book, and there'll be no Laura like there was in the original one and the last one. So it'll just be the time displaced team. That's it, led by Magneto. So like they're gonna try to make it like a self-contained X-Men story, which is weird. Like X-Men away
Uh,
from the X-Men on their own.
You know, and then the last part I had a problem with in this scene was they basically fuck up established continuity by stating that these kids are not from the same timeline
Oh yeah.
as the current team of X-Men, which is something that they made perfectly clear in Battle of the Atom when young Cyclops was dying. Old Cyclops was going all he was disappearing back to the future style until the mutant healer came over and basically fixed young Cyclops to keep
Elixir.
old Cyclops around.
Elixir,
You know?
right? It was Elixir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're basically going back on, you know, a story that's not even 2 years old. And I think they're gonna probably explain it away as, oh, Secret Wars happened, you know, so it fucked up the
And
timelines. I don't know.
Well, I think this is a new universe from scratch, right? Because after Secret Wars, everybody died, and they start. It was this is basically like the new 52 for Marvel.
Kind of, but
Yeah,
not really because they haven't said that.
because
You know,
they blend.
it's
They didn't
called a
say it.
different
Well,
Earth because the Earth that died prior to Secret Wars that
yeah,
exploded
but they would
that
never
was
say that, right?
reformed was Earth 616.
Like
And
they.
then Secret Wars ended and Reed created Earth again, and it's supposedly called Earth Prime,
So it's a new
but
52.
nothing has changed. All the continuity
Well, yeah, they're all the
for
same.
me,
Yeah,
there was nothing that
but they're all new, and certain things are different. Like Miles is in this universe and has been in this universe, so that whole thing
well,
from Spider-Man
that's the
never
only
happened.
difference. The only
Yeah.
difference is that there's ultimate. The ultimate universe was collapsed into the regular universe, which changed the ultimate universe's basically it changed the ultimate universe. It didn't change the 616
The
universe.
616, yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
that's
the only way it did was because the alternate people are there now and their histories are a part of
yeah.
it.
So
But other than that,
they're
the 616 is the
using
same.
yeah they're using kind of like, you know, the ultimate universe trick on new universe characters, which is stupid.
Yeah.
Um, well, we wrap this up with Kitty approaching Magic, and they have a final talk, which basically convinces her and leads to Kitty to say that, you know, she's going to stick around, but only under the stipulation that Storm remains. Like, she won't let Storm do what she stated she's going to do in the beginning of the issue, which is leave the team, which kind of, you know,
Stick around and be a member.
yeah, it resolves the problem brought up in the beginning of this book. And then we get a glimpse of our cliffhangers. We get a glimpse of the new school and where it's going to be located, which is Central Park, New York City.
That's illegal, right? Like
They must have got all the permits they needed from the you know, those environmental agencies the government fucking is deregulating now. That they probably don't care about where things are put anymore. So, so they allowed the X-Men to build a new school in Central Park and ruin the only good thing the city has going for it. Maybe I
you
don't
know
know.
what this felt like to me, like the Mark Guggenheim parts, like it just felt like it did feel kind of like a CW TV show. Like even the end of it, like it felt such like that. Like because you know that's what he is. He's a TV guy. It just seems like a corny ending to a TV show. Like, oh, happy, happy. Like we're all gonna live in Central Park together now, and Kitty's home to save everybody. Ugh.
Yeah. So that's the end of this issue. Is, you know, a giant setup for the books coming out with a bunch of, I don't know if you want to call them errors or not. But that's what I feel like they are. But I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, no, they are. The writers just took what they wanted, and you know, if there was a detail that didn't fit into what they wanted to do, they just like let it in the wind. You know, they didn't give a shit.
The final thing I wanted to mention, like, Jubilee used to be a vampire, and she was a vampire even in a few issues published a month ago in Old Man Logan. So I don't know what the fuck's going on with Jubilee's vampire disease she has.
I didn't know that she was a vampire. So
yeah,
do you know?
they didn't help you out determine any of that.
If you know she was an Old Man Logan, then do you know why she has a kid? Like I have no clue why she has a kid.
Yeah, her having a kid was in it was just a book titled X-Men, of a team of all women. It was
Yeah, I
published
remember that.
during the Bendis run. Uh,
I stayed away from that.
yeah, but that's where like you can find out all about that Jubilee stuff that went down, that book. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. You guys know how we do things. We tell you to buy it, to borrow it, or to forget it altogether. Trevitt, man, you can go first this weekend. What'd you think?
All right. It's a borrow. Like, I kind of like, there were a lot of parts of it that I liked, but overall, I had a lot of errors and it was just inconsistent. I think maybe because it was done by a few different writers and not all of their visions were the same. I liked the art for the most part. Ken Lashley did a pretty good job. He had this kind of 90s style, it looked like, especially with the coloring and how it kind of looked a little like weird and glossy at times. And I liked the Weapon X art. I don't know who did that, but that was pretty great. But yeah, this is a borrow. I just want to get to the X books that are coming out. I don't even kind of think this was necessary.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Wasn't really necessary. I mean, here's before I go off on a rant and kind of rail on things a little bit. I'm gonna say like I like the characters that they've chosen to spotlight. I like the
Yeah,
I like the Kitty Pryde and the classic X-Men. I like that they separate the kids from the past and they get them out of the goddamn books. That if you want to follow the kids, like here's the book the kids are in, and if you don't want to deal with them, you don't have to deal with them. I like that because I can't stand the kids from the past being in the present.
the more I read it, the more I didn't like. I liked it a little at first, and then when I read it the second time, I liked it even less. And then when I was like looking at pages and reading them, I was like, oh, you know what? It's not as great as I first thought it was.
Yeah, like I'm so tired of the kids from the past being in the present. They need to get rid of them. That's a stupid Bendis idea that has gone on for way too long.
I just want regular Cyclops back. Like, just bring him back and Wolverine and
Yeah, we'll see what happens with all that. So this issue, aside from the characters they're spotlighting, was just kind of boring to me. It was very obviously set up heavy, but a boring comic book is a crime that shouldn't be committed for $4.99. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to give me something to keep me interested besides 3 pages that really kind of grabbed my attention for the Weapon X book coming out.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that.
Other than that, I'm going to pass on Blue and Gold just because this didn't really grab my attention. There's rumors of another Marvel reboot coming in the very near future. So I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand the goddamn point of rebooting the X-Men only to then reboot the entire universe in a few months, because then they're going to reboot the X-Men again. So I'm having a hard time.
Do you think they're going to do that? Or
Yeah,
do you think that'll just stay the same?
No, they're going to do that.
They claim it's not
because they can get 2 #1 issues.
They claim
that's why they're going to do it.
It's going to be what like DC did, like a meat and potatoes relaunch. That's not like a start over, but kind of like what Rebirth did. They take the stories and they just move forth with them, but in a totally different direction.
And that's also what All New, All Different was, and it didn't happen. So I don't believe anything they fucking say right now, dude. I don't.
I don't believe you.
At this point, I've been following Marvel for too long to fall for any sort of marketing hype. I'm not going to buy the new event. I'm not going to buy this quote unquote new X-Men stuff, with the exception of the Weapon X book right now, because all it feels like is an X-Men event to me that will then lead into another goddamn reboot in 6 months. So that's where I'm at. And to be honest with you, I really kind of thought this was a borrow before I talked about it with you, and now I would just rather forget it altogether because this book was boring. I fell asleep twice while reading it, and I liked 3 pages of the comic book story. I loved the art all the way through. Everyone art-wise did a great job, but I like Greg Pak's story in this book, and I don't like the other 2. That's it. That's where I'm at.
Pax was the best part. He was the best part of the whole entire thing.
So
Maybe that's why they're double shipping, because by the time this Meat and Potatoes relaunch happens, we will have 12 issues of X-Men Blue, X-Men
Yeah.
Gold, because they're double shipping all the way down. So
Yeah, and they're also getting sucked into fucking Secret Empire, which I have no interest in, you know, so that
they need to
I
drop
don't
that
know.
price if they're going to be double shipping. Like, I know it's a $5 first issue and $4 afterwards, but even $4 double shipping $4, like, that's balls, dude.
Yeah.
Balls.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're also double shipping all these books, so you have that to look forward to, and
On the
there's no
shit
price
quality
drop.
paper.
So, you know, come on, Marvel, get your shit together. We like your
Yeah,
books
man.
and we like your characters. We want to like what you do, but
I love your
you don't
characters.
make it easy.
Your characters are ingrained in my DNA. I was raised on you by like older brother. Like, I was raised on these characters, and it just hurts. Like,
Yeah.
it
They're
hurts
not doing a good
personally.
job. I got a
Yeah.
bunch of idiots running things lately. Anyway, that's it for us this week, guys. We will have our poll up for next week up tomorrow. I usually put it up somewhere between 7 and 9 p.m. when I'm doing the DJ stuff on Mixler for Juice and Jams Mondays. If you're looking for us or you have a suggestion you want to see it on the poll, you can always find us on Twitter. I'm at bmer3660. Where can they find you at, Trevitt?
I'm on Twitter at Afronaddict and on Instagram at Trevitz Comics.
All right. So again, you're looking for us. You got any suggestions you want to see on the poll, or you want to wait till it's up and you want to vote? That's where you'll find it. In the meantime, we will talk to you guys next week. Party is over on this end. We're out.
Peace.